Welcome, Let's Talk Sport viewers on YouTube for our second FA Cup semi-final preview taking place on Sunday at 3 o'clock between Chelsea and Southampton. Of course, both teams are in a kind of a different situation really in the Premier League. Southampton trying to keep themselves up in the league, whilst Chelsea still looking to try and grasp themselves in the Champions League. Just about. They just about got the result against Southampton last weekend, didn't they? 3-2. Two fantastic goals by Olivier Giroud coming off the bench there. So when it comes to recent meetings between these two sides, we don't really have to go too far back, do we?
Very recent, isn't it? It's quite weird, actually, to have the Premier League game and the FA Cup from the same two teams facing each other. But, yeah, only just got away with it. Olivier Giroud kind of saving the day there, if I'm honest. But yeah, Eden Hazard scoring as well. Hopefully that'll give us a little bit more confidence because first half we were woeful.
Yeah. You have to go all the way back to 2015 to find the last time that Chelsea dropped points to Southampton and actually lost to Southampton. So they got a good result, good run of form against the Saints coming into this game. And they got a good run of form really coming into the game in terms of how they've been progressing in the league. Only 7 points behind Tottenham now in fourth. Only seven, but still getting there. But there's of course still a lot of pressure on Conte to try and save the season in a way, and to keep his job because of the pressure from not only the media, but it's starting to come through from a little bit of the fans now, trying to get a little bit agitated, especially on social media and things like that. So really, Jack, as a Chelsea fan, approaching this game in the semi-final of the FA Cup, you must be thinking we can get a result against Southampton and perhaps progress and either beat United or Tottenham in the final. But is that what's needed for Conte to keep his job at Stamford Bridge next season?
I don't know, because I don't know whether the writing's on the wall already. We don't know what's going on, behind the scenes at Chelsea, and whether the decision's sort of already been made. He's not the animated guy he was, even 6 months ago. So maybe the decision's already been made, but I think an FA Cup final is already good. We were there last season, unlucky to lose to Arsenal, but I think if we can get there and possibly win it, I wouldn't say it would save the season. It's great, but I don't think the season sort of needs saving. You get the people that have a go and say it's been an awful season. No one ever was going to beat Manchester City this season. They're on top form, so it was trying to get second place and Champions League places, and everyone else around them is all kind of in the same area. The teams are all sort of the same. So it's been very difficult, and I think if we can catch Tottenham, then I think getting in Champions League is possibly more important than the FA Cup, but you never disregard the FA Cup. It's the most important cup competition in the world. So if we can get in there after beating Southampton, hopefully, then whoever we face, you look to win that. Yeah.
So the most important thing looking at this is that the fact that all four teams are playing midweek fixtures entering this tie. Chelsea are playing against Burnley away on the Thursday, whilst Leicester are hosting Southampton away on the Thursday as well. So both teams will still have pretty much full strength sides looking into entering this contest. Do you think perhaps Chelsea may look to play a stronger team against Burnley than what we would do against Southampton in the FA Cup, or do you think it might be the other way around?
I think it's a bit difficult because I think they're going to have to both sides are going to have to be strong no matter what, because we still need the points in the Premier League, and obviously we still want to get to the final in the FA Cup. So I see both teams trying to be as strong as possible, and whether Olivier Giroud actually starts both games, because I think he needs to start the FA Cup one because we need a big presence up there. You saw what he did in the Premier League game against Southampton, so I think we can already tell that he's the one that we need up front at Wembley. And at Burnley, you need another strong presence there because Burnley at Turf Moor is extremely difficult. So I think Morata's not had the best of form in the last couple of weeks, and I think you need somebody up there who you can count on, to win the balls down. And Olivier Giroud at the minute is that man. So
Chelsea's FA Cup journey so far has been a little bit of a bumpy one. Norwich in the third round, 0-0 draw, and taking that to a 1-1 replay, and then only winning that on 5-3 on penalty. So they could have perhaps gone out in the third round. There's a chasey situation there. And then comfortable win against Newcastle with 3-0 in the fourth, and then followed up with another good win against Hull City in the fifth round by 4-0. But then you had that contest against Leicester where it went to extra time, and you won that by 2-1. So a little bit of a bumpy journey to the semi-final stages, whereas Southampton, on the other hand, pretty much almost coasted it through. 1-0 victory against Fulham in the third, 1-0 victory against Watford in the fourth, 2-1 victory against West Brom in the fifth, and then a 2-0 victory against Wigan in the quarter-final stages. So really for Southampton, 5 points away, drifting away from Premier League safety. It's a little bit of a difficult situation for them. Do they progress on in the FA Cup and try and close that down and get some bit of silverware to celebrate? Or do they look to keep themselves in the Premier League? Because what we've seen recently, over the past 10 years or so, with teams that have been in that final picture where they've been battling against relegation, they've gone down after us, where it would be Birmingham in the League Cup final, or Wigan, of course, against Manchester City. That Ben Watson goal was all celebrated by the Lactics fans, but only went down in that same season. So looking at Southampton's situation, Jack, how do you think they should approach it? Do you think they should be looking to keep their Premier League status and, perhaps pass on the FA Cup, or do you think they should go hard for the FA Cup because maybe they've already sealed their fate in the Premier League and they are going down?
I think obviously if you're a Southampton fan, you want them to try in both games, and of course they'll do that. But I think if I was a Southampton fan, the most important thing for me is staying in the Premier League. You have to stay in the Premier League. To go down to the Championship, we already know is a difficult task to get back up. And you see teams like Wolves are doing it now. Aston Villa are looking okay, but some of them, like Sunderland, they just keep going down. So you need to make sure that you keep it in that league. I think FA Cup is great. It's a sort of a separate competition, of course, and it's a separate thing. Trophy's great, but staying in the Premier League and that revenue as well, they need that money. So staying in the Premier League for me, if I was a Southampton fan, would be the main importance. But of course, they want them to fight on both competitions.
Right, Jack, this was tough for Jamie because, of course, he's a United fan and United playing against Tottenham. With your unbiased journalism, sports journalism opinion, how do you think this tie is going to unfold?
I think it's going to be a very difficult. We already saw this weekend just gone that it was tough for us, and I think it'll be the same again. Shane Long on the counter attack is always deadly, and our defense exactly isn't strong at the minute, shall we say? It's a bit slack. So I think that they'll definitely get a goal in this game, but I think, and this isn't unbiased, I think that Chelsea will win the game, possibly 2-1. It's going to be very close, and I see the game unfolding, very well for both teams. But I just think overall, Chelsea will go through.
Yeah, I think Chelsea have got enough quality in their squad to really push on and get the result in the FA Cup. You'd like to think so. I mean, if they don't show any of that really in the FA Cup final, I just don't see how Conte could keep his job at Chelsea if they do finish outside the top four as well, because that would be the double hammer in 2 nails in the coffin right there. No Champions League football next season and no silverware in the cabinet this season after a long and hard campaign, and especially with Champions League football as well. So going deep into the FA Cup, they have to really capitalise on that and move forward to get some silverware in. Otherwise, it'll be looked at by a lot of fans as to why did we go so aggressive in the competition if we're not going to come out on the other side and have the FA Cup in our hands. So for me, I'm going to agree with you. I think Chelsea will progress in this tie. I think Southampton as well may be looking elsewhere in terms of keeping their Premier League survival status up, but we'll just have to wait and see how that unfolds. So yeah, just let us know what you think is going to happen in this second FA Cup time between Chelsea and Southampton on the Sunday. Make sure you leave your comments and predictions in the comments box below, and make sure you like and subscribe.